Good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. Now, I, as you know, often cover AfriForum because I think they're doing some fantastic work. And, they're a remarkable organization, and I believe they've got their head in the right place. And I would love to do an interview with Ernst Ritz or Kali Kriel, but we have tried to contact them in the past and had no response whatsoever. But having said that, it is what it is. Okay, let's get right into this. This is such an interesting story, and this is a huge shout out to Koos, who's drawn this to my attention. And what it is, it's the Chinization of South Africa. And it's going on rather like the Guptas with state capture. Behind the scenes, you're not supposed to know about it. But AfriForum have joined the dots. So let's get into the story, because this involves China and mineral rights in South Africa. The South African civil rights organization AfriForum has released a damning report indicating that land expropriation without compensation is a government plot aimed at handing over the country's natural resources to China. Now, if this was anybody else coming up with this, I'd say, what a load of crap. But AfriForum normally get things right, and there's some very interesting facts, and I'll be attaching a couple of images to this as well, which support this whole conspiracy theory. The ruling African National Congress, or ANC, along with the Economic Freedom Fighters, or EFF, is determined to amend Section 25 of the Constitution, allowing for the expropriation of land without compensation as a means to fast-track land reform. The ANC have previously described this as a land affirmative action aimed at redressing the effects of oppressive property laws which dispossessed the majority of South Africans under white minority rule. The issue of land distribution is arguably the fiercest flashpoint in South Africa, with many landowners fearing that the populist rhetoric will ultimately result in the destruction of private property laws. AfriForum has fought vehemently against the proposed motion of expropriation, embarking on international tours aimed at exposing the plight of the white farmer and gaining support in the face of minority dispossession and displacement. The rights group now says it has solid proof of collusion between the government of South Africa and China, which aims to add another dimension to the already convoluted land expropriation debate. While the ANC supports a constitutional amendment, it maintains that the Bill of Rights already allows for land expropriation without compensation. On this basis, the government decided to forge ahead with its land reform plan by embarking on a trial phase. This trial phase focuses on 139 farms which are due to be expropriated without compensation, while the government has refused to release information relating to the targeted properties. AfriForum dropped a bombshell by releasing a list which they say lists farms on the government's expropriation radar. Upon releasing the document, which was said to have originated from the Department of Rural Development and Land Reform, AfriForum stated, "We expect that many a landowner will be shocked to learn that their property has been identified for this purpose. This is exactly why it is so important that the list be shared and for people to contact us." The controversial list released in August caused widespread panic, first and foremost among landowners whose names appeared. AfriForum faced a backlash from a number of stakeholders, including Agri-SA and the Department of Rural Development and Land Reform. Minister Senzeni Zokwana, representing the Department of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, chimed in too, blasting AfriForum for fear-mongering and saying, "AfriForum is so intent in stigmatizing the current parliamentary process around land expropriation without compensation, such that the peddling of lies such as these claims of an existing list of farms to be expropriated by government is made without shame." The latest confusion by AfriForum following their overseas drive to mobilize negative sentiments against South Africa, is an act of sabotage. It is an act against the national interest of the country. But it would now seem there is some truth to AfriForum's hotly debated expropriation list. According to Kali Kriel, CEO of AfriForum, the government has moved ahead with its trial expropriation, targeting farms in Limpopo, which were mentioned on the list. Kriel says, despite government denying until very recently the existence of such a list, the correctness of the list is confirmed because the government has already started to expropriate Aqualand's farm at significantly lower compensation than market value. The farms Kriel refers to belong to Aqualand Bordere, which are situated east of Messina in Limpopo. It's alleged that the two farms, Lucan and Salacia, are being expropriated by the government at 10% of their market value. It's also alleged that Meta Nkosazana Mashabane, Minister of Rural Development and Land Reform, served Aqualand Bordere with an ejectment order on the 29th of March this year. The court orders gave the owners just 7 days to vacate the property. Johan Steenkamp, co-owner of Aqualand Bordere, says that this was a ploy used to circumvent a legal defence, saying, "The minister would have known that 30th of March to the 2nd of May was a long weekend. I believe she wanted to make it as difficult for us to take timeous legal steps." This agrees with the minister's public statements that she did not want farmers targeted for expropriation to know this beforehand, to prevent them from preparing a legal action. Steenkamp managed to get the ejectment order repealed, but it is now involved in a lengthy court battle with the department. We fight for property rights because the fact that government wants to pay only 10% of the market value of Aqualand Bordere's farm in effect means that it is busy expropriating 90% of our property without compensation. This is where the situation involving Aqualand Bordere gets very interesting. Aqualand, AfriForum, TAUSA Solidarity and Agri Limpopo all say that the government is using land expropriation as a means to reach rich coal reserves hidden under Lucan and Salacia. Once the farms are expropriated, the land will be handed over to the Chinese for mining. An official statement released by AfriForum on the 3rd of September reads, "Government needs the coal reserves on the farms because the Chinese development includes, among other, the building of a coal-powered power station, a coal plant, and various metallurgical plants. South African Energy and Metallurgical Special Economic Zone, or EMSEZ, is a state-level energy and metallurgical special economic zone. It is a partnership program between South Africa and China, prepared for mining and energy production." And let me just show you an artist's impression of what that's going to look like if it gets developed. According to the official website, the EMSEZ is located in Limpopo and encompasses areas surrounding Messina. The EMSEZ is located in the Messina-Makoro-Limpopo River bank area of Limpopo Province, South Africa, facing with Zimbabwe and Mozambique across the river, and connected those two countries through a bridge. The reserve of surrounding large open-cast coking coal mines is over 10 billion tonnes, and the chromium resources in South Africa account for over 83% of total global chromium resources, while manganese resources account for more than 81%. The region is abundant with raw material resources necessary for stainless steel production, including iron ore, silicon ore, nickel ore, and limestone. So let's have a look at this, which is the Messina-Makoro map, which you can see on emsez.com. The website also contains maps and illustrations detailing the EMSEZ. AfriForum points to both farms due for expropriation falling within this zone, saying, The organizations pointed out that Chinese government-controlled companies were planning development to the value of $10 billion in the Messina-Mercado Special Economic Zone, or SEZ, in which Aqualand falls. Exploration by the controversial coal of Africa on Aqualand indicates that the farm's coal is suitable for use in power stations and steel factories. But it's not just Limpopo's coal which is said to be in China's crosshairs. Extensive infrastructure plans listed on the official website state: one 12 million ton a coal washing plant, one 3,000 megawatt thermal power plant, one 3 million TA coking plant, one 3 million TA iron making plant, and one 3 million TA stainless steel plant, one 1 million TA FEMN plant, and one 3 million TA FECR plant, 500,000 TA MNSI plant, and one 3 million TA limestone plant are to be built in the SEZ. Supporting Government Administrative Service Centre, Industrial and Commercial Management, Customs and Taxation Service, Living Area Service Centre, Staff Dormitory, Apartment, Hotel, Shopping Mall, Hospital, Schools, as well as Highway, Railway and Marine Transportation, Integrated Logistics Centre will be built in the SEZ as well. Now, Marius Krokamp, Solidarity's Deputy Chief Secretary responsible for the metal and engineering industry, maintains that steel products produced by Chinese plants near Messina will have a negative impact on the already struggling local industry. The steel market in South Africa and pressure on the international steel market cause the margins on which local steel companies operate to become so marginalized that any further competition in the market will force local companies to close down. This will result in thousands of South African workers losing their jobs. Now, I've got to just make a point here, and that is that the Chinese will not be using the local African population to build this incredible site that they're talking about here. They will be using Chinese workers who are, thanks to this ANC government, honorary blacks. How ridiculous is that? They don't even come from Africa. They're honorary blacks, which means that they don't get affected by BEE, but the white population that's been there for generations and generations and generations are excluded from those same jobs because of the color of their skin, because they are white. This is how corrupt this ANC government is. It is just beyond the pale. Anyway, going on with the story. Local companies that will possibly be affected include Columbus Steel in Middelburg and Samancor, South 32. Consequently, communities around these factory towns may collapse and leave thousands of people destitute. Solidarity is also unaware of any studies done to determine the impact of the Messina SES on the current South African steel industry. Just to conclude this story, which is fascinating, we're going to follow this. AfriForum sure does make a good case for dubious dealings behind the smokescreen of land expropriation without compensation. While the reach of these plans can only be speculated upon, the issue of South Africa's debt to China is well documented. The old debt trap we talk about on this channel so often. It's not a far-fetched idea that China is aiming to loot local resources through debt colonialism. In fact, they've done it before in other countries under the guise of infrastructure development and generous loans. More information on China's operations in Limpopo can be found at the link below this video. All right, there you go. So, what do you say about this? I mean, there's so much skullduggery going on in this ANC government. You've got to take the story and say, hey, this is probably what's going on behind the scenes. All right, guys, please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Ring the bell for the updates. Please like this video, and above all, stay safe.